Our board member and host of Cubaneando, wanting to say a few words, and then we'll just, pass the mic for a few moments. So please welcome Vivian Maria Lopez.
Thank you, Sarah. And what can I say? I mean, it's a whirlwind of emotions. When I found out on Tuesday, then my show was on Wednesday night, and I immediately started getting phone calls that same Tuesday night from hundreds of people, phone calls, text messages, emails, and I even said, let me go ahead and maybe perhaps I can include them that same night and dedicate the full hour of Cubaneando to Maggie. I know she would deserve thousands of hours because there's so many beautiful and touching messages that kept coming in. But I wanted to include the voice of listeners, the voice of musicians, the voice of everyone who got touched by her. And I think each one of us here in this room have been touched by her. I've been here at the station since 1995, so we've had this beautiful long relationship. In fact, I remember, I was mentioning in the show, I remember pushing Diego when he was very little, her younger one, in one of the chairs at the old station, the old studio on Bird Road, and just so many things. The growth of the station overall, the technology has evolved. So every little step that we have lived since, in my case, the 90s, is thanks to the vision of this wonderful woman, strong, kind, loving, connected with the community. Everyone knew her. She knew everyone. And she just needed to open up her mouth with her beautiful, soft voice and make miracles, right? Make wonders. And it's really because of the huge person that she was in so many ways. Again, it's hard for me to, imagine that she's no longer physically with us. I know her presence is felt here so much. When I came in on Wednesday, I remember going and standing by her office and saying, I can't believe this. But yes, we have to continue her legacy. We have to continue her work. what that she has started and moved on to make this such an important station, not only in Miami, but worldwide. And all of us, it's up to all of us to continue that beautiful work. Again, I could say many words. I want to also leave the mic open for those who want to come to continue speaking. But you know how she used to say, thank you, gracias, merci, merci, all that. I want to say all of that, in all those languages to Maggie, wherever you are. We love you. We're going to continue your work. You're here with us. And the love that is felt here, I know you can feel it, Maggie. So again, thank you. And thank you again for the time.
Would anybody else like to say a few words? Sure, come on up, Hector. This is Hector Gutierrez, one of WDNA's board members and been with the station since when, Hector?
I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay.
Hi, I'm a man of a few words, so I'm not going to say a lot. I want to welcome you to a place which is special, magic, and it's so important to the community. I want to appeal to you as a member of the board to continue coming to be together with us, remembering Maggie, and make some contributions so we change the name of this WDNA studio to Maggie Pelleya Studio. That's basically. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to share a few words? We got Michael Valentine, our music director here at WDNA.
Hey. Hola, hola. Que hola, mi gente. Everyone's good? Hey, when I first started working at WDNA, 1988, 87, I was doing 1 day a week, and there was a fundraiser going on. So I said, oh, we need volunteers to come down. Of course, it was a little bit different. When I got down, it was not quite the radio station that you thought it would be. But man, they were grooving. And I've been here all these years. I consider Maggie as a friend, not necessarily my boss. Very empathetic human, very giving, just thankful. And the only time she would yell at me is when there was dead air. I think that's the loudest I ever. I don't think anyone can account that Maggie actually yelled at anyone. I don't think she had even a volume because she was so just level-headed about everything. No matter the crisis can be, there can be a whole thing burning down. Maggie, we need this. Maggie, we need that. She'll shake a tree. She'll write a grant. And voila, we keep moving, month to month, inch by inch, brick by brick. And that's why we are here today, because of her brilliance, her hard work to get us here where we are today. And hopefully we're going to continue with that, with listener support, community support, and I love you, Maggie. I'm going to miss you, and I guess we're not going to exchange any books anymore, because she was a big book reader, like I was. So I'm going to miss exchanging books with her. I love you, Maggie, and I'm going to miss you.
Please welcome Tony C. from the Reggae Ride every Saturday, 12 to 3.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's concert. Not a whole lot to say. I'm still processing this whole thing, and I've known Maggie for majority of my adult life, without giving away my age. It's roughly 40 years, and just a wonderful human being, and I'll cherish the moments we had. We had some great times, some good memories, back in the day. So I just want to say, Maggie, we're gonna miss you, and just we've lost a great human being. Thank you.
I'm going to hear from Frank Consola next. You might know him, right? Frank Consola is longtime host of 88 Jazz Place Morning Session, the Malt Shop Rhythms, the Blues Spot, lots more.
It's been a rough week, okay? Let me just give you a little background. When I came to Florida, I had a very big insurance job. I was a manager of an insurance company, but I had a chance to come down to Florida because my father, who was ill, his sister and her husband ran a police leathercraft place in Florida. And I thought it would be a good idea after 18 years of being in insurance and leaving as a manager to come to Florida and do something different. And my father, who was ill in the hospital, he said, "Don't do it." And I said, "What do you mean?" "She's crazy and her husband is nuts. Don't do it." And I didn't listen to my father. And to make that part of the story short, I was here in the 80s, and it didn't, he was paying me very well, and I was learning about manufacturing and police leather goods in Hialeah, Mixon Leathercraft. You may know where it was. It was right in Hialeah. And the only thing is, the bottom line was relationships were difficult. My wife was not working, and she was working part-time too. And the bottom line was we had a falling out, and he cut my salary way, way down, and I was already bought a house in Miramar. And I said, I'm quitting. And I quit, and my wife and I were both not working, and it was hard. But I was listening the only thing that kept me going was listening to WDNA when I started. And I started to hang around, and I didn't meet Maggie right away, the first year and a half. But once I met her, I was coming in to visit the station with the different radio promoters and everything, and they asked me to start coming to their shows. And Maggie said, "Would you like to do a volunteer one day a week?" And I said, "Sure." And of course, back then you had to have an FCC license. I had no background whatsoever in doing what I'm doing now, but I loved music ever since I was like 5 years old in Brooklyn and Philadelphia. So I loved what I was doing, and so she gave me the chance to do that. And what happened was when her name, I can't remember her name, the one that was doing the show in the morning left to go back to Texas, and she asked me if would I like to do a regular show. And I was in so much personal problems. My marriage went down that way. And I had so many things on my mind, but WDNA and jazz had always been my bag. When I was in Philly and Denver and everything, when she said, "Do you want to do the morning show?" I said, "Yeah." But I was scared. I never did anything like that before. But Maggie, she just told me, "Oh, you'll get the hang of it real quick." And sure enough, I did. And as I grew with the station, I grew with Maggie. Maggie was a friend, a family member. This is my home here. I didn't have any other home even for the last 20 years. And I knew her for over 30 years, and I'm going to miss her because she was amazing what she did. It's going to be hard to even think about her not being here. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for coming out tonight, and it's a special night, and that's all I can think of right now. My heart has been really rough this week. I wasn't even sure if I was going to come in, but I decided to. But anyway, thank you.
You know, it's funny, Frank, that you talked about your father telling you what to do and not to do. I grew up listening to WDNA in the car. My dad played WDNA. And was a longtime friend of Maggie and Wilfredo, her husband. And I always was like, what is this? Can we change the station? But I got a little older. You know, I went to college and did college radio and then was traveling and moving further and further west, further and further away from Miami till I was about, you know, in the Pacific Northwest, about as geographically distant as I could be from Miami while still living in the US. And my dad kept saying, what are you doing? It's cold and it's rainy there. You need to come back to Miami and you should work at WDNA. And I would just roll my eyes and roll my eyes. And here I am, as it so happens. And it's funny, the reason that happened was also through tragedy and through loss. It's what brought me back to Miami. So beautiful things also happen. Perspective opens up when we lose people and we actually can really physically feel the impact that they have. You know, because of these family connections, when I came in and had my formal sit-down interview with Maggie for my job, at the end of it, and I was qualified, by the way, but at the end of it, she said, you know, I'll fire you, right? Just to make sure. But I was speaking with Alex Aldrich, our technical director, about this, the space that she gave us and continues to give us, physical, of course, that we're all here in, but the room to learn, to grow through trial and experience, being okay with failure. This is the best way we learn and grow, right? And so sometimes, you know, we would get frustrated with all of the freedom we had. We wanted someone to tell us what to do. And so she was always teaching us, whether she was telling us something directly or indirectly. And it was kind of like, all right, do you want to sit there and pout in your office, or do you want to find a solution to your problem? And this is the way she built WDNA to operate, to be a group of people who find ways to move things forward, because that's what she did. And that's why we're all here in this room. So I know that's kind of echoing what a lot of folks have said. And I think a lot of us thought we weren't going to speak, but it's hard not to about someone who's so dear, someone who's so impactful, so powerful. So I'm going to hand it over if anybody else wants to speak. And okay, come on up. This is Ana Mumita from Fusión Latina.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ana Mumita. I am the radio host of Fusión Latina every Wednesday. And as always, as I say on air, so grateful and humbled to be here. I didn't even know Maggie more than a year. But she's the reason that I'm here. Very tender-hearted, so I'm trying not to get emotional right now. I remember 5 years ago when I was listening to WDNA, I would wake up at 5 a.m. every morning, and I would drive to downtown because I was a student. I was in fashion merchandising then, and it was Brainville that caught my attention on WDNA, and I said, man, this is a hell of a radio station. And I would press the scan button, and that's how I fell on WDNA. And ever since I heard WDNA, my dream was to be a radio host here. Between that time and then, as I was a student in downtown, the book fair was happening, and I always said I would never put a bumper sticker on my car. Like, who does that? Like, what? That's so lame. I would never do that. And as I was walking to my class, I'm walking to class, and from the peripheral of my eye, I see WDNA, and I had to, do it like a second take. And I run to the book stand, and Maggie's there. And I'm like, I love you guys. Like, I'm losing it. I'm like, this woman probably thinks I'm insane. And I'm like losing it. I'm like, I love you guys. I listen to you guys every day. Like, you guys are in my mornings or at night. And she's like, oh my God, that's so awesome. Would you like to sign up? I'm like, yeah, of course. I don't even know what I'm signing up for, but I like sign up. She's like, do you want a bumper sticker? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want a bumper sticker. What are you talking about? I remember when I said I wouldn't put a bumper sticker on my car. Well, here I am putting a bumper sticker on my car so proudly for something that stands so profoundly for the city of Miami. And, by the grace of God, I had the opportunity to be in an email thread with Maggie. Shout out to Nicole Garcia, Latin Jazz Quarter host. She introduced me to Maggie. I sent over my resume. I put a cover letter on it. I've never done a cover letter for a resume, by the way. Just expressing my passion for the music of WDNA. And Maggie emailed me back. She had me come in. We met. And she reminded me so much of my grandmother, someone who I hold so much respect and love in my heart for. Maggie gave me a tour of the studio. And she gave me so much trust and so much love in just an instant of not knowing me. And she had me train under Andy Harlow and Robert, legends of legends, and Freddie Aquino, of course. And since I've started, which was in October, until now, I never got you're doing a bad job, you're doing a good job. Maggie just gave me the freedom to become somebody here. And that's something that I hold very true to me, being in my 20s, because finding yourself is a really difficult thing, and I think everyone can be attest to that. And finding myself has been an incredible journey, and Maggie has been a huge part of that journey. So I speak for everyone in the room when I say we're gonna miss her. Maggie was a facilitator, and as a young woman wanting to continue the legacy at WDNA in honor of Maggie, I always hope to make her proud and just keep pushing the music forward. So thank you, guys.
I'm going to pass the mic over to Howard Duperly to say a few words.
Good evening. I'm not usually short when it comes to words. Quite often when I'm interacting or speaking with folks, sometimes they'll look at their watch. They'll give me all kinds of hint that I'm talking too much. But tonight, I might just not have the volume for obvious reasons. But Maggie and I go way back, almost 40 years. Our two kids, my eldest, my daughter, her eldest son, Willow, went to school together. We used to drop the kids off in the morning, talk, and of course, I was always on the commercial side of the radio business, and started volunteering here for, I think, in the mid-'80s, and got out of the corporate world and came where my heart was, WDNA. And Maggie and I were literally in the trenches together. A lot of things that transpired and happened that only us two knew about. A lot of challenges in trying to keep the station going over the years. And we kind of made it happen. But with Maggie, and I think I was telling Tony C. earlier this evening, I've met a lot of people in my lifetime, a lot of important people. And I hold Maggie as one of the most intelligent, intellectual, bright persons I've ever met. Yeah. And her generosity is something that I learned from. She never had a mean bone in her body. I don't even think the word no existed in her vocabulary. Easygoing, as a matter of fact. When I came on board officially as sales and marketing director, You know, I had to say, Maggie, you know, we can't just give this away. You know, we've got bills to pay. But she found it hard to say no to anybody at all, always accommodating. And, you know, that type of spirit was always welcoming for everybody. She's definitely left a tremendous legacy here, a blueprint, a template for the next generation to carry on. I look at some of the younger folks that are now part of our family, our WDNA family, and sometimes, you know, I shake my head because they're coming into something that's already established and not knowing what it took to take the station from a trailer in Homestead to a dingy little warehouse in South Miami, to a little office park, to actually purchasing this building, and all the mountains that we had to climb, and she was there. She was a visionary. She was the one who captained the ship, so to speak. Sarah and I think I was the last person she saw before she died, because last Friday we were both in my office, which is not unusual, and I noticed she was a little frail, and I said to her, I said, Maggie, you need to go home. And I think it was about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. She left, and of course she passed away. She got ill over the weekend, so that was the last time I saw her. You know, Sarah and I have been holding hands and hugging each other and trying to keep things going as normally as possible. I think we're doing all right, yeah? So Tuesday, Sarah and I were in our office and we were talking, and Sarah left. We were supposed to meet Wednesday morning because we had heard she was in the hospital. So Sarah left, and not even a minute later, walked back in and broke the news. And Tuesday that day, I think I was okay. You know, I think I was okay. But Wednesday and yesterday was really rough, really, really rough. And I think the thing that's more heartfelt is from individuals such as yourself and the dozens and dozens of phone calls that we're getting, emails, and every time you get one or you speak with someone, it hits you even more. And the bottom line is everybody knew or knows what Maggie represented. And the condolences are sincere. We feel it. And so I want to thank you on her behalf, and thank everybody who's calling. And we're getting business professionals that are saying, you guys need some help in the accounting department? I can come over. You know, got musicians, all kinds of people. Everybody wants to come over, and that's just an indication of how impactful Maggie SR was. And so on behalf of WDNA, Maggie, the Fernandez family, Willow and Diego and Wilfredo, thank you. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Thank you.
I also wanted to thank everybody. There's been an outpouring of donations made in honor of Maggie. So if you have done that, thank you so much. If you would like to, you can scan the little signs that are around or go to our website, wdna.org. We also have a listener comment line that we're using now to fill and flood that voicemail box with stories of Maggie. So if that's something you'd like to do, all the info is on our website at wdna.org. And I also wanted to let you all know that there's going to be a Mass for Maggie on Wednesday, May 24th at 10 a.m. at St. Augustine Church in Coral Gables. And the family is welcoming everybody to join them to celebrate the life of our dear friend, our fearless leader, Maggie Pelleya. That info also is up on the website, wdna.org. I'm going to go ahead and invite Nicole Yarling up. She has a few words to say. She's going to transition us into some music, something Maggie lived and breathed for and that brings us all together. And then we'll transition over also to the Tim Jago group. So thank you all so much for being here. We're so grateful for you. Nicole Yarling.
Do I just take, does it matter? I'll do this one. Hi, everybody. Anybody that knows me knows I can be very long-winded. So I wrote Maggie a letter. So I'm going to read this, and then we're going to do a song for you, Martin and I, and I'll tell you about it. But I promised Sarah, dear Maggie, I promised Sarah and everyone in this room that I would not be too long-winded. So I decided to write you a letter. I did the same thing for other people I loved, Ira Sullivan, China Vallis, Alice Day. And I intended to do this for you, but I figured you'd be around for a while. Oh, well. I wanted you to know how much you mean to me. So I decided to point out 100 reasons why I love you. Only kidding. Only a few. In the past 40 plus years I've known you, you've only ever shown me love. You believed in me and all my far-fetched ideas when no one else did. You never told me no. You always struck me as a free spirit, a hippie in a good way. Your beautiful soul was always positive. You're one of the most positive people I know. In fact, I don't think I've ever heard a cross word from you. I always admired your freedom. I love the way you sang and danced at the drop of a hat. In fact, Jean Caz was sad when he heard the news that you'd left us. But I was able to tell him that he was able to make you sing in Creole and dance compas at the last Jazz Encounters. I admired the fact that you stood behind what you believed and fought for justice when necessary. Even the trees outside, and I just found this out, the trees outside your door were spared because of your perseverance. You, in part, were responsible, and this is true, for me getting my violin and cameras back. You did so much for so many people, and you never wore it as a badge. You were never afraid to take a chance. You were able to bring people together through the arts. You were supportive to the entire South Florida community, and we all love you for it. I promise that I will attempt to continue what we started 13 years ago and build on it. I'm hoping that we can establish a scholarship fund in your name very soon. You are with us, maybe not physically, but through the stories and comments shared this evening. You will always be here because you are WDNA. So, Martin, will you join me? We're going to do a song. It may seem like a little from left field, but it's a Prince song. And, Martin, we're going to do a project of Prince tunes. And for some reason, this song popped in my head when I thought of Maggie. So, this song is written by Prince, and it's about a fictional character. but I believe the song speaks volumes. I was going to change the lyrics, but I think you'll understand. This is for you, Maggie. Tracy died soon after a long-fought civil war. Just after I wiped away his last tear. I guess he's better off than he was before. A whole lot better off than the fools he left here. I used to cry for Tracy 'cause he was my only friend. Those kind of cars don't pass you every day. To cry for Tracy 'cause I wanted to see him again. But sometimes life ain't always the way. Sometimes it snows in April. And sometimes I feel so bad, so bad. Sometimes I wish that life was never ending. But all good things they say never last. Springtime was always my favorite time of year. A time for lovers holding hands in the rain. Now springtime only reminds me of Tracy's tears. Always cry for love, never cry for pain. He used to stay so strong, unafraid to die, unafraid of death. That left me hypnotized. No staring at his picture, I realize. No one could cry the way my Tracy cried. Sometimes it snows in April. Sometimes I feel so bad, so bad. Sometimes I wish that life was never ending. But all good things they say never last. I often dreamed of heaven, and I know that Maggie's there. I know that she has found another friend. Maybe she's found the answers to all the April snow. Maybe one day I'll see my Maggie again. Sometimes it snows in April, and sometimes I feel so bad. Sometimes I wish that life was never ending. But all good things, they say, never last. All good things, they say, never last. And love, it isn't love until it's past. We love you, Maggie.
Thank you, Nicole. Thanks, Martin. Without any further ado, we want to welcome up our band for tonight, musicians who have known Maggie also for a long time. We're looking forward to celebrating her tonight. We've got the Jago group. I'll introduce you to Tim and then let him introduce you to the rest of the band. Please welcome them. Whichever one you want.
Do a little transition here. Thank you. So while the guys are getting set up, let me introduce myself. If you don't know me already, I'm Tim Jago, and initially I thought it's difficult to be tasked with being the leader of a band for an occasion such as this. The gig was booked a while ago, of course, and of course this took us all by surprise. But my hat goes off to Nikki Yarling and everyone here at WDNA, Sarah and everybody, for the wise decision to keep the night going ahead, because I think it's important. I think we all do too. Maggie would have wanted it this way. And I guess I was sort of in that position of, oh, this is a difficult thing to do, being in the band. Like, what sort of music are we going to do? What's the vibe? Does it have to change? And then I had to keep reminding myself that no, she would be here if she was here with us, and she'd be supporting me just as she's always done. I've been coming through these doors since I've been in Miami. So I moved here in maybe 12 to 13 years, almost 13 years now, from Australia. And from the very moment I walked through those doors, Maggie was welcoming me with open arms and encouraging me and my music. So yeah, it felt very fitting to play the music that we were going to play. And yeah, I can't say enough about Maggie, just the sort of the effortless way about her. Just the way she vibed with my vibe, I guess, you know, super relaxed and chilled, and always so warm and welcoming again, and encouraging of all of us. Actually, everyone who's on the bandstand here, I can speak pretty confidently that they feel the same way. She was always so encouraging and wanting us to do our thing, basically, and the proof is in the pudding. The place she built and is here for people like us to do our thing. So you're going to hear some instrumental music, and it kind of a lot of it is original music, most of it actually, and is sort of represents a gamut of emotions. Sort of the way that you can get to certain specific emotions that you can't get to through a story or through words, sometimes can be tapped into with instrumental kind of composition. And so you're going to hear a fair bit of range and all applicable, I think. And this first one is a bit of almost a dance number, but with some twists and turns. And can I introduce my band to you? These are all stellar musicians and my dear friends, and I can't believe they agree to play with me, because they're the monsters that they are. This is Mark Small on the saxophone. And you heard from him already, but such a pleasure to get to play with a fellow colleague of mine at University of Miami, and just a treat to play with whenever I can. I'm also a chords player, so I rarely get to play with other chords players. And so he's a pianist, I'm a guitar player, but I have to have him if I can get him. And this is Martin Bejerano. And then behind me on my right is kind of a hidden gem. He doesn't play many creative music gigs these days, but we have to sort of pull him out. It's not often enough, but when we can get him, we relish it because he's an absolute beast of both the electric bass and the acoustic bass. And I mean, it blows me away that this guy doesn't play more music that serves his talents than he does, and that's not a dig at him. This is just saying that he's an absolute beast. This is Kurt Hengsterbeck. That sounded like it was a dig. No, it wasn't. It's all encouraging. And then behind me, a brother who I play in another band with, a long-standing band, and it's a pleasure that I get to have him play my music. We go way back, and I can't wait to make more music with him. This is David Chiverton on the drums. So enough talking. The night has changed directions from what we initially thought, so I'm kind of at the disposal of the people who are running the show here. It's already 9 o'clock, so we're just going to play some music, and then it was originally going to be a jam session also, so we'll see what happens. I'm kind of going with the flow here, and I have to thank everyone who spoke earlier. I couldn't agree more with all the sentiments, and I can see, I can feel Maggie here, regardless of what your beliefs are, even just through our memories, she's still with us. So, this is for Maggie. If you feel like dancing, go for it. Thank you. So, yeah, we started with an original, currently entitled Calypso-ish, and that was Body and Soul, one of the most recorded jazz ballads in history, written by Johnny Green and three lyricists, and I can never remember all of them, so I won't say any of them. But Johnny Green wrote the music for that one, and it's, like I said, one of the most recorded jazz ballads in history, so we needed another version, didn't we? That was a kind of a nod to Vernel Fournier's groove on Ahmad Jamal's Poinciana, famous, classic, iconic, with a bit of a different spin, kind of in 5/4, different meter that we put it in. And we're going to continue with another original, and this one can be seen as challenging. It sort of has elements of aggression, but I think that's okay. I think those sorts of emotions are all right, and you're allowed to feel them, and you're allowed to process them. And with everything that comes with that, there is also some relief. So throughout this tune, you'll hear some tension and release, and more tension, and quick switching between certain moods and gear shifting. So all of that stuff you can take with it what you will. Bring your own experience to that, now more than ever, I would imagine. And nothing more to say about that, except please come with us. It's a little, can be a bit challenging, a bit heavy feeling, but I encourage you to just join us on the journey. This one is currently entitled Time Shift. David Chiverton, ladies and gentlemen. You heard from everyone there. That was Mark Small on the saxophone. Martin Bejerano. And Kurt Hengsterbeck on the bass. So it seems like we convinced you. That was okay. That wasn't too challenging. It's a little bit heavy. We're going to continue with another tune that kind of goes through a bit of a journey as well. And then it's going to segue into one that I wrote a few years ago now for a band I had in Australia called The Grid. And it sounds great with these guys, so and it fits nicely. And so we're going to play from this one, which is lacking in a good title. I came up with the groove with a voice memo, so I called the song Voice Drum Groove. And it means more than that, though. It's kind of echoing. I don't know. I don't really know. It's more feelings and moods. That's what I was trying to get at before with instrumental music. So, yeah. Yeah, you can kind of tap into some sort of feelings and ideas a little bit more accurate. I can, at least, more accurately with composition. So this one goes through a bit of a journey, and then we'll continue with major. But thank you all so much for being with us and willing to hang with us in such a tough time, really tough time, and it really means a lot that you're still willing to kind of check out music. Maggie would want it that way, and she, Maggie's family have said that all thoughts and of bringing flowers and things like that should be redirected and turned into donations for the station, and it's important. We need to keep this thing going, which she believed in so much, and we can kind of keep it going, keep it alive, keep the train on the tracks. Speaking of that, I want everyone to give a huge hand to all the workers here at WDNA who have kept the machine moving in such a strange time. Yeah, that's everybody involved. All the DJs and Sarah, Nikki with the Jazz Encounter series, everybody at WDNA. So yeah, we all appreciate you for keeping this thing alive. Okay, we're going to play some more music now. Thank you once again for hanging with us. That comes to the end of our portion, and I'm not sure. I'll call upon Nikki and see what we want to do after this. We've got one more, and we'll see if what's happening after this, but we could always start things off again. We might just have a quick breather between this last one and after this last one and what's going to happen next. But yeah, thanks again for being with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you. And really glad that we could all be available for this occasion. And yeah, wouldn't be anywhere else right now. So thank you to Maggie. And this last one is a positive one. It's supposed to leave you on a positive note. It's called Kind-Minded, so you can't get more positive than that. Kind of a play on words for kind-hearted, kind-minded with a rhyme. And yeah, this one was written a long time ago. It's sort of become a mascot tune of mine. And I will be here tomorrow giving a masterclass slash workshop, and something that Nikki Yarling is curating also. So if you know anyone that would like to come and hear me talk about music and bring your instruments, set up a little band scenario and give you my 2 cents, that's happening tomorrow, 1 till 4 p.m. and it's free. So tell your friends and spread the word. Keep jazz education alive. Maggie was a big advocate of that as well, and can't thank her enough. But again, just let me give my biggest gratitude, help me give my biggest gratitude to these fine musicians. That's Mark Small on the saxophone. Keep it going for Martin Bejerano, Kurt Hengsterbeck, and David Chiverton. Yours truly, Tim Jago. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thanks. look small. That's Martin Bejerano. Kurt Hengsterbeck. You're going to hear from David Chiverton in a second, but that's been us. Really appreciate your presence, and thank you to Maggie. Thank you.